Nature. It's a pretty ambiguous word, and it can mean a lot of different things to different people. To some, it's nothing more than an inconvenient drizzle on the way to the car. To others, it's where pretty screensavers and postcards come from. It's a place to just get away from it all for a while. It's where we mine our resources from, and to divide into neat predetermined plots in order for us to own and signify our prosperity with. But to him, it has become a metaphor for life itself. Nature isn't some external thing that we can leave simply by going inside. And it functions on patterns that can be discovered and applied to better our own existence. He's been exploring these woods for 4 years now, and he would hardly recognize the naive high school graduate that first stepped foot here in 2011. He was somewhat directionless and unsure of himself, but the woods provided a path to confidence. It hasn't been an easy path, and at times he's absolutely hated it. But character can't be developed without adversity. Simultaneously, he symbolized his experiences through a lens. He never really questioned why he felt the need to record as much as possible. Because the one thing that he's always been sure about is that he wants to make a living behind his camera. This non-traditional career choice means that there's a high risk of failure, and he's all too aware of that. But the thought of sitting behind a desk all day is much scarier to him than trying and failing. At the beginning of year 1, though, those worries are still a long way off. He's always lived in the same house, and he's never really gotten to see what else is out there. So, year 1 marks a big shift in his life. On his first visit to the U.P., he found it amazing how different it was just 6 hours away from home. In fact, after that, he decided that NMU was the only school he needed to apply to. His life at home was secure and familiar, and he feared the uncertainty that awaited him up here. But he also knew that it was time to take those first steps of adulthood. It didn't take long for his fear of the unknown to dissipate. On the first night, the Northern Lights welcomed all the new residents. He's had an interest in cameras for a long time already, and he decided that it would be a pretty cool way to make a living. But at that point, that's about as specific as his dreams got. And they were still just dreams. Almost instantly, he found a connection to this place, and his photography started to feel out its own path. There was something about the woods that lowered his guard. He was naturally shy, but out here he felt like he could express himself more freely. In these early days, he had no artistic vision. He was just trying to record all the cool shit that he and his friends got to see. He didn't realize it at the time, but he had begun to develop something that had been missing in his life: a sense of purpose. By year 2, he had settled into a comfortable environment. One in which there is room to explore further interests. The untouched quality of nature up here just didn't exist at home, so he felt that he had to take advantage of it at every opportunity. He wasn't really sure what he was even doing out here. So he rationalized it as practice for his future career.
Frog, you gotta find us a way back.
I'm trying, man.
He found himself hiking more and more, and his hard drives kept filling up from a growing library of video and pictures.
We're about to get swarmed.
He actually worried that this activity would start to feel repetitive. But that day never came. Because out here, you never see the same thing twice. He knows it won't be easy, but this is how he's going to prove himself. By turning a hobby into a career. The first half of his college career was more about finding the craft that was suitable for him. Now that he'd found his place, he finally felt comfortable enough to not hold anything back. Because he was beginning to realize that if he wanted to make a living outdoors behind the lens, he was going to have to pay for it with sheer dedication. Lucky for him, the more experience he gained, the more he enjoyed his time out here. And that's a good thing, because the easy part was over. He found his craft. Now, he had to make it his own. farther he explored externally, the more he understood internally. Year 3 is when things got a little more personal. In the past, he would usually wait until somebody could hike with him. But now he'll just go, whether his friends can come or not. He enjoyed the challenges of hiking this unforgiving terrain alone. And without companionship, he found that he saw more. Not just in the woods, but in himself. Quickly, he learned that if you can't make friends with your shadow, the woods are an unfriendly place. That meant that he had to learn to accept the traits that he liked about himself, as well as the ones that he didn't. Because you have to make do with what you've got. As he became more in tune with his own personality, the woods began to develop a personality through his lens. Now, small and once overlooked features grab his attention. But like most advancements, he only realized this in retrospect. The woods are more than a photography subject now. They are his analogy for understanding himself and the world around him. In his quest for further understanding, he's discovered that the more he explores this place, the bigger it feels. Which in turn only fuels his will to see more.
Wow.
It's a never-ending cycle, but the woods have shown that if you're only thinking about your destination, you're gonna miss a lot of cool shit along the way. By the end of year 3, he had come to terms with a lot of the realities of life. The most important thing he took away is that he has control over how he perceives them. He'll be spending his first summer in the U.P. And he can't wait to see where the woods will take him. Somehow, he's made it to his 4th year already. It doesn't feel like that much time has passed, but he's gained more experience in those years than his entire previous life. He didn't really know what to expect when he started this phase 3 years ago, and that scared him a little bit. Since then, his attitude about the unknown has changed from fear to excitement. It's natural to react to the unknown with fear, and many people cling to familiarity. But discovery lies just outside our comfort zone. In order to achieve sustained growth, he tries to straddle that fine line between familiarity and discovery. The idea of what his future will look like has been constantly evolving, and all the unknown factors about it used to scare him. But he's found that it's impossible to be fully prepared for the unknown, and worrying about it only makes it worse. Instead, experience is the best way to handle an uncertain future. So he practices his craft almost religiously. He knows he's capable of building a career that revolves around nature photography. But it's not until the last half of his last year that he realizes how much work it's going to be to make that jump from amateur to professional. He's achieved amateur status through innate talent and a little bit of hard work. But that's only the tip of the iceberg, and a majority of the work is still ahead. He's never been afraid of hard work, but he needs to be sure that his efforts are worthwhile. And right now, he's never been more sure about what he wants in his life. Nature doesn't grow in a linear fashion. There are periods of sedimentation and periods of growth. Once he realized what it would take to reach his potential in the last half of that year, he entered the biggest growth spurt he's ever experienced. For the first time, all of his time was occupied, and there was always a project to practice his craft on. It's overwhelming at times, but his life has never had more purpose. And seeing the progress he's making is all it takes to refuel his motivation. His artistic vision feels like it has a mind of its own now, and all he's really here for is to make sure that the actual work gets done. There is still a lot about his future that he's unsure about. But he has successfully dealt with enough of the unknown that he has the confidence to confront whatever his future throws at him. It's been a frantic end to a completely unexpected journey. He's put more work into his craft in the past few months than he has in the past 4 years. That autonomous artistic vision has run wild recently. And he's had a lot to live up to because he feels a duty to serve that vision. That duty will never be satisfied, but he's proud of what he's accomplished. His future ambitions make his current accomplishments look like nothing more than practice. But for now, he's going to enjoy some well-deserved relaxation. Whether it's a craft, a loving relationship, or something greater than yourself, everyone needs something that makes their life meaningful. And if they can't find that thing, unhealthy distractions often fill the void. He was lucky to have found something meaningful to him early on. But there is nothing special about him. He could be anybody. The only difference is, he knows he's not normal. He's found the woods to be an incredibly strange place. And if something as normal as nature is strange, then normal is just a figment of our imagination. So don't try and be normal, because there is no such thing. Accept who you are, and use it to your advantage. Once the pressure to conform to something you're not has been lifted, you'll truly know what freedom is.